Hey, how's everyone doing? All right, Happy New Year. Happy New Year. So, I feel like the theme of this year is having fun, honestly, because everyone seems to have lost their mind. So I've been on break from school. First day went exactly how you thought it'd be, completely bored out of my mind. Madden for 6 hours, doom scrolling, complete psychopath. But I did take the franchise team to the Super Bowl, so that was fun. While I was doom scrolling, I saw some things, some creators or whatever you want to call them, that have just lost their mind. I'm not big into politics. I'm not huge into it. I feel like I'm a level-headed guy, but there's some people that have just, they're. I'll say this: they're following the theme. They're having fun. They're definitely having fun. Um, there's this one guy I saw on there that I wanted to talk about specifically, just because I feel like, this is obviously a comedic show, completely satirical, don't take anything I say too seriously. Um, but I'll say this. If you make a joke and you mean it and you have a mad tone when you're saying it and it is representative of your feelings, yeah, I don't think we can call that a joke anymore. So, I'll say this. When I talk about this guy, he's a middle-aged white guy, classic, just like trying to tell you what to do, which is cool, whatever. There'll be some humor in there, I guess, he's having some fun again. So this is the first video I want to show. I guess this is one where, he's making a little Trump Epstein joke. Oh. Okay, see, I'm not a huge okay, that's fine, I guess, because again, it's a joke. I didn't really find that funny, but you know what? If you do, I mean, that's cool. You want to dunk on the right or whatever. It's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. It's probably not an inaccurate statement, to be honest. However you may feel, probably not an inaccurate statement. But then it keeps going, and this is the thing. I feel like when you lose your mind, as one does, you keep kind of going further into the rabbit hole. And again, now that we're in 2026, I feel like back in 1996, this couldn't have been like this. There's no way that in 1996 someone just lost their mind. You just point at them on the street and be like, damn, that guy's crazy. But now they can find other crazy people and just say crazy things all day, you know? And they can find their audience or whatever, and they can kind of lose the plot in reality and lose their bearings on, well, everything. And now this might sound like an exaggeration. Gen Z tends to be dramatic, so I will say that. Maybe I'm a little biased. But I think in this next video you'll see that, in this guy's mind, we're in 1939 Berlin, and he's giving some sort of speech, and we're supposed to respond. This is like a call to action. This is like in the Revolutionary War when they activated the militiamen, and he's like, hey, it's time. We gotta fight back, and as a young brown man, I somewhat disagree, but I mean, to each their own. So let's take a look at this. So again, he's just, he's in his kitchen. He's got comments are my favorite part too. I'm not anyway. So he's in his kitchen. He's got a wooden spoon in his hand. Maybe he's cosplaying as, I guess, a freedom fighter in 2026 in a first world country. That's fine. It's cool. Nothing wrong with that.
Are you sleeping? My fellow Americans, where are you? We have Nazis roaming our streets in these beloved United States.
Nazis in the streets. The Gestapo. Interesting.
We have Nazis moving door to door, rounding up all migrants and any dissenters of the Fuhrer.
The Fuhrer, by the way. Not, all right, whatever. Well, as someone who runs around town or whatever, I hope I don't run into the Nazis.
My fellow Americans, I simply cannot have that. And I believe that you cannot either.
He goes on for 1 minute and 38 seconds. I'm not gonna play his whole thing. That's like I'm literally gonna be like I'd rather chew glass. But my favorite thing about these things is the comments. So you got the dog with the mask. How you felt after saying that's pretty good. Holy Reddit. This is my favorite meme. I love it. I literally use this meme like a few times a day. Anyway, so this shit's so ass. This is why I won. Again, I can agree with both things. Like this other video, it's probably not wrong on that one. This is probably not wrong either, because what is this? Like I'm definitely not a moderate, but as someone who's like definitely not against some ideals on the left, this is insane. You just lose me completely. What is going on here? It's an insane thing to do. I couldn't imagine like having to try, like, imagine he gives you a succinct argument on why you should join the party or whatever he's aligned with, and then he just does this. You're like, oh, so you're insane. All right, that's cool. And you'd think that's as worse as it gets. You'd think that's like, it can't get any worse than that, right? You'd think like, you'd think like, you think it like, all right, well, you do that, you cosplay a bit, whatever, he's just kidding around, like, I guess no, I don't think any of us have done that, but anyway, you'd think that's as bad as it gets, but no, it goes even further, because I guess the White House got redone, or the West Wing, or East Wing, or something like that, I don't know, I tend to not pay attention to things I have no control over, but anyway, he has this video, which I think is hilarious. This is probably my favorite one. So the picture of the White House fill me with unbridled rage of our forefathers. Every single one of you will pay for this. Mark my words. So every single one of us will pay for it. So interesting phrasing of words. I'll say that from a Caucasian man. It's an interesting phrasing of words. Let's look at the comments first this time. Grown man staring into his camera, frowning in silence. Same team, but like brother. They will pay for this. This is what I picture. Mark my words. Oh, that guy kind of looks like me. I don't want to flame myself on this one. All right, let's watch it. All right. So this is psychosis. Unless it's a joke, I guess I don't know. But this is psychosis. Is this tough for the unemployed? Very anti-Trump, but the East Wing was built in 1902 and expanded in the 40s. It's not founding father stuff. I don't know if that's true. I'm just reading this. But that's actually true. Mark my word. This is my favorite meme on this guy. It could be me too. I can't even say it. All right. Anyway, so I don't know where I don't know. I don't know how he got to that conclusion of like we're all gonna pay for it. Can you imagine if I did this? Like, can you imagine if I was like, hey, I don't like I don't know, I didn't like Obamacare. Every single one of you will pay for this. That is like insane. Or even with COVID lockdowns, if I was like, every single one of you will pay for it, that is like an insane thing to just type out. I mean, and I think at this point he's serious, I can't, and this is what I know he gets serious. And this is the part where he's having fun, I mean, again, would I take any of these guys seriously? Obviously not. He's insane. But would I get a beer with this guy? I mean, maybe. I want to hear some ideas. I want to laugh. If he's like, hey, I think there was one where he was like, we should just enslave every government agent or something like that. I'm like, all right, what are you talking about, bro? I would just laugh. Yeah, it'd be fun. He's having fun, I mean, I'm yelling at a microphone right now. Is that different, to be honest? Anyway, so this is the year of losing your mind. And in Rome they had circuses every day as it fell, and I feel like this isn't that much different. I mean, I hope it doesn't. I hope everything keeps going amazing. I do want this country to be good, you know, even if just for selfish reasons, but I do want it to be good. But I mean, if it goes down, you might as well have a show as it goes down, I guess. So this insane guy that thinks he's in 1939 Berlin and he's a freedom fighter, even though he's in a comfy house in Westchester in a first world country. It's cool. Um, Anyway, so this is the one part where I'm like, all right, this is where you lose me in terms of like, hey, now we can't get a beer because now you're like you're very angry. So look at this, look at this.
Right when she said that half of the Republican Party is a basket of Hey, Hillary Clinton was right when she said that half of the Republican Party is a basket of deplorables. She actually didn't take it far enough. It's far more than half. Every single Trump supporter is an inferior fucking vermin. I wish you all the worst. I genuinely hate you. This isn't a fucking bit. This isn't a gag. I hate you all. This isn't like I disagree with you. No, I fucking hate you. I wish you the fucking worst.
So just in case you guys missed that, this isn't a bit. This isn't a gag. See, this is the difference too. Like, when I disagree with people, because I disagree with people on all sides, because obviously you're never going to agree with someone 100%, but when I disagree with somebody and they tend to be on Trump's side, this is just an observation. They're usually like, whatever, or it's fine. When I disagree with someone on the left, it's like I'm suddenly like, insane. I'm racist somehow. I know that, and it'll be so funny because it'll be like someone who's like a little more, I would say a little more, to use the terminology, privileged, but they'll be like, yeah, you're racist. I'm like, all right. Well, no, what is it? It's the self-internalized racism. I'm like, yeah, what about the ones where things were said to me as a kid? Like, what about that? Did that not count? Like, I mean, I'm not over here crying. I'm just saying, but what did that... what was that? That was just like, you think that made me not like myself? Like, what are you talking about? Anyway, so yeah, I mean, see, now we can't get a beer. Like, you just lost your mind, And I mean, all right, I didn't mean to end on a serious note like that. If someone wishes you the worst on like that, and it's clearly, he clearly has some other issues going on, but the main point being with this is this is the year of having a little fun, going online, saying some crazy stuff. And like, I feel like back in the day, like even like 6-7 years ago, people would get in trouble for saying stuff like that. And now they're not. Now they know. Now it's cool. Now it's cool to be like, no, I hate you, to people I've never met. And I'm like, all right, well, that's cool, whatever. I mean, the feeling is probably mutual with everyone he dislikes that much. But now let's move on to a more lighthearted topic. Now, I don't know if you guys have been like doom scrolling the way I have, but I saw this woman who had a viral story on TikTok. Her name is Kendra, and she's an ADHD coach, and she accuses her psychiatrist of exploiting her. Now, in her own words, he was professional. He tried to maintain a professional relationship, but his boundaries hurt her, when he tried to be professional. And as you go on, you'll see that, again, I don't want to come at this situation too viciously, just because I do think there's some mental illness at play. But like, again, this is a prime example. This is someone that if they would have told you this at a bar, you'd have been like, oh, wow. And then you would have slowly walked away and been like, damn, that sounds oof. Let me tell you what happened last night. Let me tell you who I ran into. Anyway, so these are her top couple moments. Now, the first one I'm going to show you is she actually had a dream, and she told her psychiatrist, I had a dream about me and you. And it wasn't the most wholesome dream it was a how do you say it now? It's a spicy dream. A spicy dream. Okay. So now she tells him about the dream, and he's obviously uncomfortable because he was like, hey, can we keep things professional? She's like, I actually had a dream about you. Anyway, so we're gonna kick off with that solid one. Let's see what she has to say about it. because he was obviously uncomfortable when she said that. Let's see what this is her rebuttal to him being uncomfortable to her talking about that kind of thing.
You know, maybe he was uncomfortable because he didn't like me saying that I had a dream where we hooked up, but he could have said that.
He could have said that. Now, where have I heard that before? Where if you make someone uncomfortable and then they say they're uncomfortable later, and then your rebuttal is like, they didn't say anything, they could have said something. I have a feeling that would have gone differently if it hadn't been that dynamic. I'll say that. I mean, but again, you know, she's having fun. She's throwing out allegations. She's throwing out accusations. She's having a little bit of fun, you know. I like playing Madden. Maybe people think that's weird. I mean, this might be someone's hobby, you know. All right, let's keep going.
Yeah, like almost certainly. What connection did you all have in a past life? We were married.
All right, so we were married. Huh. I don't know if you guys have ever seen Scarface, but there's a scene where Tony Montana walks out of the club with his friend. They're talking about some girl. He's like, the eyes, Chico. The eyes never lie. And I think that fits well here. Anyway, moving on.
Why am I so against feedback? Because the feedback is not based in my reality.
You know, I've actually heard that one in person. I've actually heard the whole, like, that's actually not my truth. You know, believe it or not, people use that argument. Like, that's actually not my truth. I know I did exactly what you just said, but in my reality, I did that for this reason, so it doesn't even count. That's your reality, that I did that. I mean, you know, again, you know, you just, 2026, the year of having, 2025, 2026, both years probably, years of having fun.
And this is why I think a lot of abusers don't speak up. I actually had someone, do you think he's had other victims or just you? So for a long
Other
time.
victims. Maybe other patients. Other victims is a little bit of a stretch. Again, this guy can't, the thing about this is this guy can't comment on anything. He can't even say like, oh, she was my patient, but, or she wasn't my patient, but, she could have never been his patient, and he can't even say like she was never my patient. Like, that's how restricted he is in talking about this. And I'm not saying that's wrong. I'm not saying he should be able to speak out. I'm not saying HIPAA should be broken. I'm not saying any of that. I'm just saying, like, damn. Like, I bet you're happy that's not you on the other end of the situation. Like, someone can just say whatever they want. You just had to, you know, someone can just have, you know, just do whatever this is, you know. But again, you know, the year, the circus, Rome, I'll continue.
I thought it was just me, but the more I think about it, he's definitely. And then I told my psychiatrist that I woke up and thought, oh my God, it was just a dream, thank God. And it was like my psychiatrist turned into a little boy, and he looked at me and he said, so you do like my boundaries? And I said, I love your boundaries. I hate your boundaries, but I love them more. Because once again, he used his boundaries.
She's saying boundaries, like, and that's like in a seductive tone, your boundaries. Oh my God, it's crazy. Dude, that's so scary, dude. Like, imagine, I mean, it's obviously worse, but imagine if, like, a guy was like, you're like, hey, I mean, or anybody, you're like, hey, I'm setting these boundaries, all right? Please stop. And, like, your boundaries, I hate your boundaries, but I love you. I'd be like, bro, I would be like, I don't know, it'd freak me out, I'm not gonna lie.
As protection while exploiting me.
So that last point I do want to touch on. She said while exploiting her. Now, I actually did see the rest of that clip back when I was binge watching all this stuff. And she meant like, she thought that her giving him that graphic recount of the dream was the exploiting part. So in her mind, that she thought that her giving him that recount of the dream was the exploit, like he was exploiting her for that. Like that's what he was after. Now, if you just took away, like, okay, it's his job. That's one. But two, you know, there's some of these things where you can kind of see hints of this stuff in other people. I mean, I feel like we've all had a friend, colleague, significant other, whatever, that like will say something that like doesn't make any sense. Like, all right, but I gave you this. And it's like, I didn't really want that. You know, I didn't really ask for that. And you're like, in your mind, you're like, I don't want to be mean, but I didn't care about that. I actually actively don't want you to do those things. And you're like, oh, don't be mean, don't say it, whatever. And but they still think that they're doing you like a service, like, you know, with providing you with things that you never asked for, advice, insights, company, like whatever. Oh, actually, like what I do, it would be like if I was like, but I do the podcast for you. And it's like, and someone was like, I'd never, and I mean, a lot of people probably like, I never asked you to do that. I actually don't like watching. Well, all right, cool, you know. And I was like, no, but you're exploiting me for my insights. But yeah, I guess this goes with the theme of this year. You know, everyone's having fun. Everyone's watching the circus burn, the circus as Rome falls. You know, I feel like I've gotten pretty hard on the left for right now. So I'm gonna switch to the right. Now, I do want to talk about something, and it's the whole Epstein thing. And now, I'm going to take a different angle on this because I feel like everyone's caught up in the whole, like, you know, the seriousness of it. And obviously I am too. I'm like, you know what? Everyone's lying to me all the time about everything with the whole thing. But there is one thing that I've learned about this that I wasn't expecting. And it's my generation literally having like taking every situation and making it into like a TikTok edit or a joke or like, you know, the toughest comment, you know, or whatever. And I say this because I would like to think that back in 2006, if Obama and or 2009, whatever, if Obama and George Bush had been linked to Epstein like a lot the way Clinton and Trump are, I don't think that it would come out that the millennials, which would have been the young people at the time, would have made the jokes that we're making now. You know, they were going like in. It's crazy. It's insane how like people are just like running with this stuff, you know, like whether it's on the right and the left, you know, you could look at it seriously. You could be a downer. You could be a downer and be like, hey, the sitting president and the ex-president are both probably went to the island, and like, you know, you could key in and be like, hey, Trump literally was like, he went from we have the files, they're coming out, to like, what are you talking about? You're talking about Epstein right now? Are you serious? Talk about that weirdo. Trump literally went from I have the files to like, right, you're killing the vibe, bringing that up. Killing the vibe. You would have thought that like he talked about like you having a girlfriend and like, and you're on like a two-man. That's what you would have thought. He's like, bro, why are you bringing that up, bro? That's how he reacted. He reacted like, oh, don't bring that up, but it's not that big of a deal. Like that, I'm like, bro, what are you talking about? He's obviously in on it. But again, our generation does not take anything serious. So, in coming the TikTok edits, and this is again one of my favorite things about the generation. I mean, we're just having fun. You know, we realize that the whole system's destroyed. That a third of our generation never even made it out of the womb. And we're like, you know what? Let's kind of laugh at it. So this is one of the ones that were more popular. So now the thing about this one is it got 2.8 million likes. That means literally probably like 7 or 8 million people saw this. An insane amount of people like this. If you look at the comments, 7,000 comments, and look at these. Y'all came in with the sauce, and it's literally Jeffrey Epstein. And it's just a mountain of, look at that. It's just a mountain of people, like, and you'll realize it more as we see the meme. Look.
In years, where do you think you'll be?
Oh yeah.
Steven.
On my private island.
Yeah, I came in with the sauce. Ooh, yeah, I came in with the
Christopher.
On Steven's private island.
bitch, I play red wrong. Yeah, bitch, I play
They
red.
do take pictures like they're friends. I'm not gonna lie. Like, I mean, you can be on any side you want. Like, if you came from another country and had no idea about America, and you're like, do these two look like friends? I don't think anyone would be like, nah, they don't look like friends or whatever, you know? And then the comments, again, 7,000 comments, bro. Stephen Christopher Files, that's insane, bro. Like, anyway, so that's the first one. And now, the thing about it is, like, if it was just one side, like, it would be less sad that this is the state of the world, but it's not. It's not. And so, naturally, there are jokes made on both sides. And now this one's honestly a little more out there, in my opinion. But again, this isn't anything, there's no obscenities, there's nothing crazy. It's just literally someone asking Bill Clinton a question and him just like, responding in, I think, a way that most people wouldn't, I assume. Like if someone was like, hey, you know that the biggest child offender in the planet ever recorded, caught, like what do you got to say about the connections about you and him? I feel like most people wouldn't react like this, but I mean, you guys tell me. Any comments on the alleged allegations of your
allegations of your connection with Jeffrey Epstein?
No. Look at that. It's like,
Yeah, I came in with the song. Ooh, yeah, I came in with the song. Bitch, I play red wrong. Yeah, bitch, I play red wrong. Yeah, I came in.
and again, the same 138. Like this isn't an obscure part of the internet where like weirdos. I mean, maybe they are weirdos, but like you know what I mean. This is like a huge factor of the population. You just had to be there, bud. That was that smile he gave. Genuinely, what do you do when someone just don't care? The look said it all. Look at that. That's an insane thing. You would have thought like someone just told him a joke. Bro got nostalgia. Low-key respect him for not hiding it anymore. All right, that's weird. Proof in the pudding. He knows damn well there's never going to be any consequences. That actually is, that honestly, that's probably why he smiled like that. Jesus is king. True. The good old... Wait, what are we talking, like... And honestly, that's the whole point of this video. Like, I feel like people are really just going out there, you know? Like, I don't think that back in the early 2000s, people would have been too even comedians, I don't even think would have been too jokey about, like, pedophilia. Wait, elite pedophilia to sitting presidents or world leaders in general. But I mean, our generation is, you know, and so I think that says something about us, our resilience. You know, for all the criticism we get from the boomers, the millennials, that we're lazy, that we're dumb, they let all those things slide in terms of these crimes. It was a lot easier when they were our age. You know, you could literally get a job out of high school and have a house in 4 or 5 years, and not work 90 hours a week. You'd probably work 40 hours a week and still afford a house. So there's that. And so we get all this criticism from both sides of the aisle of the older generation. And it's funny because, like, I feel like we're making the best out of a certain situation. Like, again, we're laughing about it because what are we supposed to do? Are we supposed to just admit? And this is another thing about satire in general and those types of content. I feel like people make that type of content. It is a coping mechanism because how are you supposed to, like, come to terms with that? That a third of our generation just never got here. Some stuff probably happened to some other people in our generation from elites, and you're just like, and they have the evidence, and they're like, hey, just kidding, we're not going to release it. Too many rich people are on it. Your favorite actor's on it. You know, we're growing up, and we see that maybe, hey, LeBron James saying no party like a Diddy party. That, you know, what are we supposed to do? We can't do anything about it. Like, we're just, you know, house prices like multiplied by 10x in the last 20 years. Our wage went up 10%. Like, but we're having fun with it. You know, this is what we're doing. What are we supposed to do? We're just going to be gloomy and doomy at home and just be like, hey, like, oh, I don't know what the no. We make Jeffrey. Well, not we. I don't do that stuff. But my generation makes Jeffrey Epstein edits, and there's probably some LeBron Diddy edits in there too. You know, do you give up, or do you make edits and carry on about your day? And again, use coping mechanisms. You know, this is the year of having a little fun with this kind of stuff. If you have a really this goes to show, if you have a really serious topic, if something is bothering you a lot, if you have severe trauma from a major life event, make a joke about it. Maybe it'll make you feel better, you know? Again, this is a purely satirical show, comedy, whatever. Don't take anything I say too seriously. Obviously, I didn't mean anything I just said. Everything the news says is true. Everything every workplace thing is right. So I didn't mean any of that. Whatever. We'll talk next week.